SUI has just recorded its highest ever weekly close and has officially become the top performing Layer 1 token this year. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I want to give a quick recap of why the SUI token and ecosystem has been booming recently, as well as discuss what I believe is coming next for this altcoin. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do find the videos informative and entertaining, please consider hitting that sub and like button. And I do really appreciate all of the support on the channel. You guys are amazing. So without further ado, we're going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and that's going to be SUI, which has actually just recorded its highest ever weekly close. We can see that the prior weekly close for its all-time high back in March came in at about $2.18, and we did just see it actually show a weekly close above $2.30. Now, if we take a look here on the day, the rest of the market is up for the most part, and SUI is actually pulling back here. However, given how much SUI has run over the past month, I do see this as a bullish pullback and potentially a pullback that could lead to further gains to the upside. So we are going to break that all down in this video. But first, I do want to take a look at Bitcoin, as we generally do on the channel, just because it gives a pretty good indication of where the market's at. And Bitcoin at the moment looks like it finally is trying to break out of this long term, really not long, and one that could actually lead to the next leg up for the SUI token. So before we get into SUI specifically, I do want to take a look at Bitcoin as well. And reason being is that Bitcoin looks as if it is trying to break above this downtrending channel that it has really been in ever since the March top. So you can see here that back in March, Bitcoin topped at about 73.5, 74K. And since then, it has been making this set of lower highs here on the chart. You can see here it's been rejected multiple times on the weekly candles. However, it would appear as if Bitcoin is now trying to break above this. And if it was to do this and create a new set of higher highs, breaking that trend of lower highs, I think that we could see a move back up to the $69,000 level pretty quick, which is also relevant as that is the 2021 cycle high. Now, breaking above 69K, in my opinion, would pretty much mean that Bitcoin is off to the races. Very similar to what we kind of just seen with SUI, okay, where you break above a prior high, and then you kind of continue on that move higher. So definitely looking for something on Bitcoin here. And if it is able to actually hold above this trend line and potentially start making some higher highs, I do believe that the altcoin market will follow suit. And I have mentioned on the channel previously that I do think we are entering alt season. I do think we are getting into the part of the cycle where altcoins are going to start outperforming Bitcoin. And that's why I do think it's important to pay attention to altcoins that you do want to stack, that you think will be the strongest for this upcoming bull run. And that's why I am, always talking about projects like Render and like SUI, which I've showed a ton of strength throughout this bull market. And I do think that will continue to be the case. Now, here is total 3. So this is the altcoin market. It's basically the total crypto market cap, excluding both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we can see here that the altcoin market is actually already broken out above this downtrend, just trying to get above this level of resistance at about 629 billion. And yeah, if it can do that, I do think that, altcoins generally will be off to the races as well. And as I just mentioned, I do think that SUI, Render, Solana, some of these coins that have been the best performers will continue to lead the altcoin market, and memes as well. So really interesting here. If we actually take a look at this infographic from Torero Romero, shout out to you. He gave this chart, basically shows coin price performance. And SUI actually flipped ton in price performance and is now the best performing coin of 2024 year to date. So we can take a look at this here. And yeah, I believe this is like the top the top 20 tokens, maybe top 25 or 30. You can see here that in the beginning, TON had a massive lead as one of the best performers for the year. And then boom, we actually saw SUI flip TON with its recent performance. So according to this infographic, SUI is now the best performing coin from the top 100. I believe this is amongst all layer 1s only, if I'm not mistaken, because I think that, well, I know that some memes have done better than this. But SUI has positioned itself essentially as the leading layer 1 this year so far, and I do believe that that trend is going to continue. Now, I also want to compare SUI to Solana. We did a whole comparison video yesterday, made some price predictions. If you do want to check that out, feel free to do so. And I have stated on the channel previously that I do believe SUI has the potential to go on a Solana-like run during this bull cycle. You know, the reason Solana became so big and really has been a huge winner during the last cycle and this cycle is because it has been one of, if not the fastest and cheapest blockchains to transact on, while also making it really easy to onboard new users through the Phantom wallet and things like that. Now we have the SUI layer 1, which is faster, which is cheaper, and it is also trying to make it easy to really just onboard the next wave of crypto users. So I do think that it is a fair comparison to make. And I do think that SUI can benefit from a lot of the same narratives that Solana has benefited from. So I kind of want to show you guys this chart here on the Artemis terminal. There's a couple of charts I want to walk you through comparing SUI to Solana. So no doubt, Solana is still much bigger than SUI, okay? Daily active addresses for Solana coming in at 4.5 mil compared to 656K for SUI. DEX trading volumes for Solana at 1.3 bill compared to 188 mil on SUI. Now here is where things get interesting with these final three charts, okay? So for starters, we have daily transactions. On October 7th, we actually saw SUI, and October 6th, we actually saw SUI flip Solana in daily transactions. So registering 42.4 mil compared to Solana's 38.4 mil on October 6th. And then on October 7th, SUI recorded 42.4 million transactions compared to Solana's 40.1 mil. Now, over these 2 days where SUI actually flipped Solana in transactions, let's take a look at the transaction fees, okay? And Solana's transaction fees were coming in at around 3 cents, where SUI's transaction fees came in at 1/3 of a cent. So even with flipping Solana in terms of the daily transactions, SUI was still much cheaper to transact on. And again, that is a massive bull case for SUI as a whole. Is that Solana is no longer the fastest horse in the race, okay? It is now SUI, and SUI comes in at a $6.3 billion market cap, where Solana's, I believe, is north of like 69 billion. So lots of room for SUI to grow, in my opinion. Now, another interesting thing to look at here is that SUI is actually coming up on Solana, and it actually flipped Solana in terms of the daily token trading volume, coming in at 1.6 bill compared to Solana's 1.3 bill. Now, Solana has overtaken SUI once again here, but you can see that SUI's daily token volume is on an upwards trajectory here, and it could potentially, you know, kind of flip Solana not just for a day, but over a longer time horizon as well, as there is more and more focus being brought to this altcoin and to its ecosystem. So definitely a really good week for SUI, and yeah, we can see here that now it's actually also recovering after kind of being, you know, not red, but we have Bitcoin up. Bitcoin's up about 5% on the day. Okay, Bitcoin seeing a nice bounce here, and SUI was kind of consolidating, but now we can also see that SUI is making its way back to the upside as well. And, you know, it's kind of been a pretty common thing for SUI here, is just that, you know, even on the dips on the way up, you can't see them on the weekly because all the dips on the weekly have been eaten up. But if we take a look at the monthly, you know, there have been a few dips here and just kind of moments of consolidation, but SUI has been one of the fastest to recover and also one of the strongest on the bounce. So really interesting to just, you know, see this continued strength, really bullish to see this continued strength for SUI. And I actually want to go ahead and take a look at a 1 year to put us on some daily candles here. Yeah, so here's what we're seeing when it comes to SUI. We saw this top back at 218 back in March. SUI fell all the way down to about 45 cents. And yeah, from there, it has rallied from that 45 cent zone of support let's take a look here. It's rallied about 390%, okay? So we saw it actually break above the $2.18 level here on October 12th, continue to hit a new high of $2.36. And we did actually see a pullback here down to about the 220 zone. So not quite back testing this prior March high, but coming pretty close to it. And if we actually do see the market continue to move to the upside, SUI is effectively in price discovery mode, meaning there is no prior history for this altcoin at these prices because it has never been here before. It is an all-time high territory. So we could definitely see some very interesting moves and a continuation of the rally for this altcoin. SUI was showing a lot of strength here over the past month while the market chopped sideways. So imagine what this altcoin can do if the market is in an upwards trajectory. I think that SUI will continue to outperform. Now, I also want to point your attention to the SUI to Bitcoin ratio. Okay, so this is not SUI divided by USD, but rather SUI divided by Bitcoin. And I think this is also I think it's also a metric worth looking at, right? Just because Bitcoin is the OG crypto, and when it comes to any altcoin, right, the general thesis is that if your altcoin is underperforming Bitcoin, you could have just bought Bitcoin and taken on less risk effectively, and had more reward out of it. So you want your altcoin to be outperforming Bitcoin. Otherwise, it's really not worth the risk that you put into investing in alts. And we can actually see here on SUI that it wasn't kind of like this downtrend versus Bitcoin since the ICO. However, it did break above that on this strong move to the upside. Now, importantly, it got rejected around the same zones that it got rejected at around here. However, it has broken the downtrend, and if it can actually break above this resistance and continue to outperform Bitcoin, I do think that is a trend that would be set to continue. So on that note, I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.